All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here today. I want to recognize a number of folks who are with us here today. From St. Pete City Council, our Chair Ed Montanari and Councilmember Darden Rice, Deputy Mayor Kanika Tomlin, my Public Works Administrator Claude Tankersley, from our Sanitation Department Willie Joseph and Bob Turner, from Emergency Operations Amber Boulding and Kayla Breland, our lead on this project out here today, Charles Hargrove, and from Commissioner Nikki Freed's office, Nathan Brummer. So as Mayor, is Mike out here? Mike, right here. Oh, sorry. Leisure Services Administrator Mike Jeffers. So as Mayor, I'd like to at least take some credit for the beautiful sunshine that we have here in St. Pete, but not so much for the smell these days. This is a tough time to be near the water, which is really what St. Pete is all about, sunshine and water. To those who live near the water, who play near or enjoy the water, I know this is and has been awful. And as a city organization, we are doing our best to clean it up. And I cannot say enough about the folks who are doing this work out here. And for that matter, all around the city. Our city teams, our contractors, our partners at the county. I'm telling you, these folks that are out here around me that are working, they are doing this for the love of the city. This is not the job they signed up for when they said, hey, I want to go work for stormwater traffic ops and parking, or for engineering, or for leisure services, or water resources, or sanitation, or any of the other departments that are volunteering their time to be out here and are working to be out here. And unlike those I just named who spent hours out here on cleanup, I've just spent an hour out here helping, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty awful. The odor sticks to you. It stays in your nasal passages. And then there's the emotional toll of just dealing with all the dead animals. The fish that we all have enjoyed in so many ways in Tampa Bay and in St. Pete. Just washing up day after day. So I also want to thank Deputy Mayor Tomlin, Assistant Administrator Tom Green, and all of our administrators and directors for their leadership. There are a lot of moving parts that are involved in this project. From the efforts of our Public Works Administration to Neighborhood Affairs and Sanitation, Parks and Rec, to the potential impact on our economy and our budget. This touches so many people in this city organization. Claude Tankersley, our Public Works Administrator, can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe between the city and our contractors, we probably collected at this point in time more than 500 tons of dead sea life by now. I want to thank our partners at the county. They've also helped, as have many residents, especially as these fish make their way onto private property. So this is an important message that we want to get across. We will not be going onto private property to retrieve dead fish. So if you have a home with a shoreline or rocks behind, or somewhere else where fish may accumulate, you may bag your fish up, and we suggest you double bag them and put them in your residential solid waste container. But we also have roll-off dumpsters here at Chris Park and at Flora Wiley Park, at Lassing Park, at Demon's Landing, at Grandview Park, at Bay Vista Park, and at Maximo. Again, I understand this is frustrating and maddening, and I know, it's human nature. We want to point fingers at someone or something that caused this. Maybe it was the incident at Piney Point that contributed to this or exacerbated it. Maybe it's the warm waters and climate change that are making it worse. And while we thankfully escaped flooding and damaging winds from Hurricane Elsa, I suspect that Elsa may have pushed significant quantities of dead sea life into our bay, our waterways, and our canals, making this situation even worse. Certainly modernizing our industries and infrastructure in Florida could help keep our waters healthier. Right now, however, we are all about cleanup, and we will keep at it for as long as we can. And this is another important point. We don't know when this is going to end, and our city teams can only do this for so long, as we are unfortunately compromising other city services. If it continues at this pace, we will need more resources from the state of Florida. We are asking the governor, please, Pinellas County, St. Petersburg, we need your help. This isn't about politics, And I know the governor's had a lot of juggle lately, but we need his office to be paying attention to this. Even Rick Scott, when he was governor, declared a state of emergency related to red tide, sent resources down here. And more help is needed if we're going to get these fish out of the water. This is a quality of life issue, it's an economic, and it's a tourism issue. And it's really impacting the lifeblood of Florida and our Gulf coasts. So I want to thank our residents for their patience, for calling in sightings of large collections of dead fish. That number, if you need to call it, is 727-893-7111. 727-893-7111, or go to stpete.org/action. I want to thank our business community for their patience as well. We will get through this, as we always do. It is what we do here in St. Pete. We are resilient, but this one is particularly unpleasant. So I'm going to go ahead and take some questions, and I have some experts here who can help answer any questions that I can.
Just heard you pleading with the governor there. Have you not heard from his office? Not getting any help, or what's happening?
We have not heard, my office has not heard from the governor. I'm not sure if the county has. So far, it's been kind of silence. And we sure would like some help from the governor's office. Again, Rick Scott stepped up, declared a state of emergency, provided resources that helped with cleanup. That's all we're asking for.
Should people here be in a long haul for this? I mean, is this going away anytime soon?
Yeah, truthfully, it's up to Mother Nature and God. We have no idea when this is going to end. And as I said in my comments, we can only do so much. We can't continue doing this forever because other city services are being compromised because we've got all our men and women out here working on this issue. I know members of council have reached out. We've reached out. We've had our lobbyists reach out. I know Commissioner Freed's office has reached out. There's multiple tentacles of local government, state government that are all reaching out to his office and saying, "Hey, come on, we're all one Florida. We need to work together to take care of these issues."
What specific resources do you need from?
We love shrimp boats. What these guys and gals out here have been telling me is that our contractor, we've got a private contractor we've retained, but some of the shrimp boats that have been out seem to be the most effective because they can cast the wide nets. One of the things that I've learned during my time out here is catfish make it particularly difficult on these guys and gals. I mean, they're scooping them up, trying to dump them in, and the catfish get caught in the net, and so they're meticulously, one at a time, having to pull them off the net and untangle the net before they can even go back out. Big nets scooping up large amounts would be really helpful. Yeah, and let's get it offshore before it even gets into our waterways.
Mayor, what is this costing the city overall? What is the bill running?
What are we over? Yeah, we don't have a cost. If I had to guess, we're in six figures, but I don't have an exact number at this point yet, and it's continuing.
And where is that coming from without state help right now?
We'll have to juggle our
Yeah,
resources.
we're gonna have to juggle resources to cover it. Obviously, this is not something we budgeted for.
Mr. Mayor, yesterday, ABC Action News, we were the only journalists inside a meeting with FWC and the Secretary of the Department of Environmental Protection. It took place at the Fish and Wildlife Office in St. Petersburg. Two questions: were you invited or let known about that? And they said that the bay may be the worst it's been in 50 years. That might be the case right now. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that meeting going on. I can't say for sure whether anyone in my office was contacted about it. I think it's, without being trite and using the comment perfect storm, I think we had a perfect storm where we've had red tide, it's happened for years. I mean, I remember back in the 70s when I was growing up and lived on the water, garbage truck after garbage truck from the city coming in to haul away dead fish. But having a hurricane hit at the same time and flushing things into the bay and then seeing not having the same tides that pushed it in, pulling it back out, I think has certainly contributed. One of the things I've heard is I've seen a lot of dead fish and species in here that you don't typically see in the bay. They are clearly from the Gulf. That tells me that it's come in from the Gulf, and that's why I think Elsa had something to do with the severity of what we're experiencing.
Are you looking at bringing in, I know you have some contractors working, but
Yeah, I mean, we're using all the assets that we've got. Our city folks, the private contractors, the county has stepped up and is also helping now. And so we're going to continue to look for opportunities. But again, it's resources, and it would help if we had some assistance from the state.
Our debris contract.
And it's our debris contractor that we've retained.
Two quick questions. What other sea life are you seeing? And then would it be worth it for you to declare a local state of emergency?
Yeah, we've considered the option of a local state of emergency. We didn't really see a benefit. I don't want to do it unless there's a benefit to doing it. It isn't going to trigger any additional resources coming in. That has to come from the state level in order for that to happen. So unless we feel there's a reason that that there's a specific benefit to declaring it, there's no point in declaring it.
But we are in an emergency
Yeah,
situation.
it's obviously an emergency situation. We just haven't formally declared anything. And as far as some of the sea life that we've seen, some dolphins, some sea turtles. Today myself was able to get a couple stingrays and moray eels, things of that sort.
Mayor, what's your biggest fear right now as we're looking at this issue? What's the concern?
Well, I think the hardest part, especially for the men and women that are doing the hard work every day, is when's it going to end? I know the residents feel the same way. That's the uncertainty of not knowing when this is going to end, when we're going to start seeing a let up in the volume, and the tides start washing things back out, and the quality of the bay getting better and becoming healthier again. That's, I think, the biggest concern that all of us have.
How many crews do you guys currently have out, or how many people do you have out assisting?
Currently, we have about 105 to 110 staff members every day. The mayor said it well. Put the politics to the side. It has nothing to do with politics. It's about getting the bay clean, getting back to the quality of life. That's what we're all looking for. Our staff, we've been doing it since July 1st up until right now. So again, they need a break. And he said it well.
May I, Mayor?
Yeah, please.
So thank you for asking that question. So we're actually coordinating this across all the departments in the city, and so we actually have more than the 105. That's the 105 that Charles is leading. But when you add in all the other departments, it's closer to 200 people in the city.
Name the department.
We've got sanitation, we've got parks and recreation, we've got public works, we've had help from police, we've had help from fire,
And engineering.
and engineering.
As many hands.
Yeah, obviously, the more folks we have out, the better. And so, having the county step in to help, that's been a big deal for us. That's helped a lot. Again, we would love to have some help come down from Tallahassee. The more that are out here, the more shrimp boats we have, the more boats we have that are catching it before it gets in here. The big challenge is when it gets in the mangroves. Mangroves are protected species. It's really hard, and you're talking about guys and gals that are having to go down with grabbers one at a time and try and pick up the fish to get them out from there. That's a real challenge, and that's so if we can catch them before they get in, that's really ideal for us.
And can people volunteer?
So want you to take a look at the city's website, take a look at what's neighborhood.
Neighborhood next door.
Next door, thank you.
Association.
Next door, your neighborhood associations, they'll all have information for what the public can do to try and help. Right now, truthfully, our focus is trying to have our teams as focused and organized and coordinated as possible. And we certainly appreciate the public wanting to provide assistance. Look, that's who St. Pete is. That's the beauty of this city. But we also want to make sure that our folks are getting in and doing the job and focused on that.
Mayor, you mentioned other city services. What is the opportunity cost here? What else is suffering while you divert employees specifically? Regrettably, a lot. Pavement, potholes, lot clearing, mowing in the public areas, mowing in the parks, tree trimming, playground maintenance, sidewalk repair, gutter repair. We literally are pulling people from every department in the city to do this work because we recognize the importance of it.
There's a lot of citizens who are looking at what happened at Piney Point, and
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but you know, first off, what happened at Piney Point should have never been allowed to happen. You know, and you know, did it contribute? It certainly is a possibility. You know, warmer waters and climate change certainly is a possibility. The amount of nutrients, fertilizers, that all adds and contributes. And look, if the longer these fish are allowed to be in the bay, the worse it gets, because they give off nutrients that fuel this. And that's why it's so important that we attack this as hard and as fast as possible. That's why you heard the number of city employees that are dedicated right now to doing this. And again, when they all join the city to come work for the city, this is not what they signed up for, but this is what they do because they care about this city and they care about the residents of this city. They don't think twice about it.
Is there any plan as this goes on to help impacted businesses like we saw with COVID-19 and there's even grants those who, thrive on?
Focus right now is on the shore.
Yeah, right now, everything that we've got, all of our focus is on trying to clean this up as quickly as we can, because again, the longer it's allowed to be in this condition, the worse it's going to get, and it just feeds on itself. So right now, that's our focus. Once we start getting, and hopefully it's soon, we start getting better control, then we can start looking at what the impacts of this were. But right now, that's where all of our focus has to be.
How hard is it to get ahead of it? You've got this problem continually
It's an issue of working smart, not hard, and getting offshore.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the challenge. Look, the quicker we can get them while they're offshore, before they have gotten their way and made their way into the canals and the fingers, the easier it is for us to do the work. So that's part of the focus. Yeah, it's hard, and I think one of the frustrating things for our crews and for residents is they can spend hours out here picking stuff up, and then another tide comes in and brings more in, and it's almost like, you know, if you didn't see the crew out here working and then you came out, you'd think, well, where is everybody? You know, and that's part of the message too, is, you know, we want people to know that, you know, these city employees are busting their humps to try and take care of this. So, but we've got to try and get it before it gets into the canals as best as we can. Yeah, let's talk about. I can talk to you later about that, because right now I want the focus to be on this issue that we're dealing with here in the city of St. Pete. Thank you all so much for coming out today.
Can the gentleman who spoke please come to the microphone and give their first and last name and title?
Gentlemen.
Charles Hargrove, the Stormwater Pavement and Traffic Operations Supervisor.
Can you spell your name first and last?
Charles, Charles, Hargrove, Hargrove, V as in Victor E.
And the same as the other gentleman as well, please.
Claude Tankersley, that's Claude. Last name is Tankersley, Tankersley. I'm the Public Works Administrator.